So I'm going to start because tonight, unfortunately, is going to be a really short night. As you can see, I'm dressed really wonderfully, not like usual, because I have been asked to be on a panel this evening, and I apologize for giving short shrift to my wonderful community. However, it's amazing when something you've done a number of years ago comes back, and people ask you to be part of a program on it. So it's a program on restarting your career. So some of you know that I stepped away from practicing law for about 13 years to take care of my sons. And then in 2008, when the market fell apart, I came back into the practice of law and recognized unfortunately, that I hated practicing law. So here I am. Hi, Connie, how are you? I was telling everyone that I have to apologize for giving everyone the short shrift tonight because something I did when I came back into the practice of law called me to help tonight. And so I said I would, not realizing that it was the exact same time as my MAAP community, though I should have. So I just got off the phone with my animal law committee friends, equine law, which is a much different group of animal law attorneys than, say, animal rights, animal welfare attorneys, because animal law attorneys who deal in equine deal in business. Horses are business, right, as well as animals that are companions. And they had me present my MAAP program to them because they wanted to know about pet trusts. And I said, well, I don't talk much about pet trusts because every pet trust in every state is different. But what you need to do is you need to be able to have a plan to plug into the pet trust. And it was so interesting. And this happens to me all the time with attorneys. There's a great deal of pushback in that, you know, it has to be the way the law says it is. And I go, yeah, that's what happened and why I'm being called on this panel later on tonight. I stopped thinking it has to be that way because the law says so. And that's how come I mediate conflicts between people over animals. And I do the MAAP plan because I don't necessarily think that what the law says you have to do necessarily serves you well. But together, if there's someone who helps you draft a plan for your pet, and you take it to a trust and estate attorney, you have in your hands the information you want them to plug into your estate plan so that you can make sure your pets are cared for. I mean, and that's what we all want. We want to make sure that at the end of the day, if I have a short-term illness or leg break, a friend of mine, Dawn Peters, today put up, she broke her arm. And she said, my God, I just realized what would have happened if my arm had been amputated. I think it was a very terrible break and whatever. And I said, yes, and what happens to your pets? And she goes, my God, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking about what do I do for myself? And I go, yes, and think about all those people who have pets. And if they had your broken arm, how would they? So now we're coordinating her program with my program because people want to know how to take care of themselves. And she's a great nutritionist, and she's a physical fitness guru, yoga and everything. And I'm, of course, the one who's going to take care of the goats that are walking on your back when you're in yoga. So that's just me. That's what I do. So it really is interesting to have so many synergies with people. And at the end of this, I speak tonight until 8:30. I'm just going to be a crazy person. I'm going to be drinking heavily, although I was last night, but we won't talk about that. So
yes, many of us were.
Yes, I was drinking heavily last night. There was a bingo game some sort of a drinking game that my son sent me that every time this word was used, you had to take a sip. So forget it. It was like I was totally drunk within 30 minutes. So it was not a problem. But I'm an easy drunk. So there you go. But I have this and then I have that program. But what I want to do, Kieran, I'm so glad you're here. I'm sorry you're getting short shrift. I hope you will come back next week when I'm really here and I'm going to stay on as long as possible because this group has single-handedly created the synergy that is making people contact me. You know, we sit here and there's the 4 of us or the 5 of us or the 6 of us, right? You would not believe how many people watch the video after we're done. So the fact you don't have lipstick on, and that I never have lipstick on, they're going to wonder who I am. It creates that critical mass who are getting the information that we're talking about, getting all those valuable tidbits that we create. about the fire, about the floods, about, what happens if you get sick. It just is incredible. So I'm going to check in with everybody. Sally, how are you? How's Athena? Up, unmute. Unmute. There you go. I'm unmuting you. You're unmuted you're unmuted by me. You're not unmuted by you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right.
That's good.
Wrong breed.
Athena's great, and I just spoke to her dog sitter for a day. I'm going out for luncheon, and she said, I have forgotten the code to the door. She goes, I would love to have luncheon with her. Can I give her bits of roast beef, or is that bad for her tummy? And I can't get in to get her. Please send the code again. And so, something as simple as that, I'll be gone for 6 hours on that particular day. I've arranged for somebody to take care of her that's totally responsible, but I forgot to give her the code to the door. So we're great.
Good. Wonderful. Connie, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Small children.
A nasty Wheaton woman under the table, or under the desk. But actually tonight works out really well because as you saw from my response to your post, Crazy Me is now the
treasurer of your club. Yes, that is certifiable,
I know. I was treasurer of our local breed club for 4 years before I became president, and I told my best friend to shoot me if I ever did this again. Well, here I am.
I locked the doors because she's on her way over.
Absolutely. So at any rate, I do have to get on another Zoom call at 4:30 Pacific because we're doing a dry run of our virtual annual meeting, which was supposed to be at the Montgomery County Kennel Club, national special.
Yeah, it didn't happen
this year.
Yep.
So we're doing everything by Zoom on Sunday afternoon, and we're just doing a dress rehearsal tonight. But this morning when I was out scooping poop, as good dog owners do, I smelled smoke again.
Oh God.
And I looked up at my weather vane and it was pointed northeast, which is in the direction of the foothills and Santa Ana winds and so on and so forth. The smell has since subsided, but it's never a good one out here when
you smell fire. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. When that aroma is in the air. So we are right smack in the throes of fire season. So every day is a persistent threat. And, sometimes you have 5 minutes to get your dogs and you in the car and out. So
making a plan to put that together is really key.
Exactly. I mean, you have to have an escape plan for you and your dogs initially. And then, God forbid this ever happens if you're away from the house.
Yep.
As used to happen to me before I retired, when I was working.
Yep.
You've got to have somebody to get your dogs out if they've got to get out in a split second. So
absolutely,
we are back in the throes of fire. Never left the throes of fire season.
God, well, thank you. Hey, Kieran, how are you? Thank you for coming again. I'm so grateful, and again, I apologize for being quick to the draw here.
Thanks for the invitation, Deb. Great to see you. Well, I think from Connie, we've had, I think it's about 12 days rain in the last 15.
Oh my God. How many inches is that?
Oh, it's more a question of how many feet do the lakes rise rather than.
Right? It's scary. It really is. I just actually bought a house on a little bit of a river, and now I'm going to be worried about rising water as well.
Well, there's no escaping nature.
Nope, there's no escaping nature. And that's what people have to know when they have their pets. I mean, horses and dogs and cats are sort of easy to remove from the fire, right, Connie? Or the flood, right, Kieran? But not from, not horses, not so easy. And not, birds, if in fact you have parrots or something, because, if it's cold out, you have to be really worried. You can't keep them in the car. You have to put them somewhere because they've got to be warm. So, oh my God. So you've had rain, Kieran, and what else? What do you have, Kieran? What animals do you have? We always like to know our animals.
None at the moment, but I work with quite a few.
Right.
So
You
I
have a
think
business.
worlds.
What is it again? It's pet.
Oh, well, I've sort of 3 or 4 jobs at the moment, which is I'm a financial advisor in by profession. I'm a dog trainer by accident.
Well,
When I was, you were about to ask there, Debbie?
no, that's great because, when people are trying to make their MAP plan, I'm so glad you're here. They sometimes need a financial planner because there are ways to do different funding for their pet trust so that they can care for their pets, especially if the pets are horses.
Right. Well, one of the things I do from time to time is give a very short financial planning for your pet business. So if anybody needs any desperate advice, I'm quite happy to make things more difficult.
Yeah. Well, today when I was on the call with my attorney friends, they all were actually giving a great deal of pushback because, the pet trust, the law says, the statute says, this says, and I said, guys, I'm not writing the pet trust. I'm helping the people who know the law and the statute figure out how to meet the needs of their clients. And one of the women said, that is such a good thing. She said, I have horse people who I help with different contracts and whatever liability. She said, and then they say, well, I like you so much. I'd like you to make my will. And if there's one thing attorneys know, they know what they don't know. And so I will raise my hand and say, I do not know how to make a will, nor do I want to learn how to make a will. So just so you know, so she actually has helped trust and estate attorneys in her firm. She's in a big firm that has, attorneys in every state in the union. And she said to me, make sure you tell everybody that, I'm around and I can help them in Florida and Illinois and California and this and that. And I know when I spoke to Connie's attorneys, they were really thrilled as well because they had no idea the intricacies of what people want with their pets. So that's why I'm glad you're here, Karen, because there are intricacies that happen to finance the care of your pet. And, I'm definitely not one to say I know how to do that, but I know that I've spoken to several financial planners who have said, oh, by the way, did you know you could do an annuity? Did you know that you could do some other financial vehicle in which the pets could be underwritten by this vehicle? So I'm learning every day. I do not hold myself out as an expert. I just hold myself out as someone who wants to help you have that vision about what kind of care you want for your pet. And then enable you to write it down. That's what the M stands for. You have to make that plan or it's never coming to fruition. Never coming to fruition.
That is so true.
Yep.
That is so true. Could I jump back very quickly
Sure.
to something Connie said about the fires? And now I'm speaking purely out of ignorance and conjecture, but what happens in a disaster is your pet gets spooked and then probably won't react as the way you'd hope. In other words, if you're trying to get them out quickly and there's noise in the background or there's chaos, they might just panic.
Right.
And things won't go. So what I would suggest is, can everybody hear me clearly?
Yeah, you're breaking in and out, but okay. You're coming back. No worries.
Right. I don't know if you have the Halloween chaos that we always have over in this part of the world with the bangers.
We have COVID now, so we won't be having it this year, Kieran.
Right. Okay. But just what I would suggest is try and get the sounds of whatever chaos goes on in a fire or an emergency and get your dogs used to that.
Yeah.
And that can be done very easily. There's a lot of noise on YouTube with similar scenes, and it's just to play it to them every so often, just to get them used and socialized. So that
is really important. And Connie, going out with them to pick up the poop and smelling the smoke, they pick up on your anxiety, but if you can at least desensitize them, what Karen said is perfect. If you can desensitize them to that smell, that would be huge because they're going to drive through a much stronger sense of smell when they're driving down the hill. And then, of course, as you know, and as everybody knows, you need at least 2 escape routes because When I was looking at these houses in North Carolina, one road we knew would always be gone if a storm came because it was almost underwater and there was no storm. So you had to have a second route, and there was none. So that's why I didn't buy that house. But you really need to know what you're doing. And unfortunately, I am going to have to call it quits tonight. Holy shit, I can't believe it. I love you all. I am so sorry. And we will have a long time next week because Connie, you won't be doing your meeting after this, right?
Oh, yes, I will.
Next Wednesday?
For the next, today, the 7th and the 14th, we have Zoom board meetings.
At 7 at night, my time, so it's your time?
4:30 our time.
So it's a half hour.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll push back to 6:30 so that you can be on for at least 45 minutes. Does that work?
That would work beautifully. That would work.
Right. So Rose, you heard that. We're going to do it at 6:30 for the next few weeks. Kieran, does this work for you? At least it's 11:30 by you. It's not or is it midnight by you, Kieran?
You're halfway there exactly. It's 11:45 now.
Right. So you're going to go to bed before tomorrow. So I think that's a great idea.
It is. But I want to leave you with a little bit of good news from this part of the world, and I think it probably will eventually have a big impact over there, which is, for the last year, I've been working with a lot of canine experts in putting a basic responsible ownership course in place. And there's sort of two parts for this. The first one is designed for anybody who's thinking about getting a dog. And it goes through everything you need to know, from what type of dog will fit in with your lifestyle to the different types of costs, security, safety, and so on, social responsibilities, legal responsibilities. I've had a rough year trying to get any of the rescue shelters to adopt it, but during the week, one of the largest microchipping registers have decided that they're going to use it.
Oh, wonderful. Good for you.
So, and they're going to inform all the dogs that use their base to get microchipped, and they're going to ask anybody who's getting a new dog in the future to do the course, and anybody who registers or re-registers a dog, in other words, a dog that has a microchip and they're getting it from a rescue shelter or whatever. So that's
well, we're going to start with you next week. So write down that you are the one going to give us so much more information. And I am so sorry I have to go, but you are on deck next week to fill us in. What do you say, ladies? Right?
Absolutely.
You're on deck. So next week, 6:30, be fair, be square. You've got to be here.
We'll see you at midnight.
No, 11:30. We'll see you at 11:30.
11:30.
Bye, bye, everyone.
I will pass on the info beforehand.
Great, perfect. Well, we'll have
you know all about it.
And send a link if you can, because I'll share it with everyone.
Yep, I have a radio podcast and everything.
Perfect. We'll send it to
I will send that to you, Debbie. No problem.
Bye, guys.
Bye.